Hello and welcome to I Hate Your Movie, a podcast where me and Dan sit down and make each other watch films that we may or may not like. This week we watched Extraction, that's the right name, a film that obviously Dan really enjoyed. He's got a lot of good things to say about it. The film came out in 2020.
It was one of those movies that came out in 2020, one of the three. It was Trolls, World Tour, Bad Boys for Life and Extraction.
Film starring Chris Hemsworth as a badass ex-army person. I don't think it ever actually says what he did in the army. It's not important. He's a badass. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of vagueness in the film.
He's a well-trained badass. First things we need to get out of the way is what's your one-sentence review?
Okay, so my one-sentence review is I want to give credit to the intern who tried to destroy this movie by rubbing curry paste on it. On the film rails, but while you did an admirable effort, it did not destroy a film. Please use a more corrosive liquid next time.
So I suspect we may have the same point here. So the first note I wrote down when watching this film is orange filter over the camera. Dan's going to hate this.
I wasn't as wordy as you. I just wrote yellow.
It does go away throughout the film though, because they do at some points change it to a blue filter.
Yes. So the film starts with a flash forward to the end of the film.
Yeah, pointlessly. Yeah, it has this yellow filter, which is kind of like a cliche of film showing India. It's even like 100 times more potent in this film. But the funny thing is, right, so we have this flash forward and Chris Hemsworth is in it. And then we have the normal movie start and the yellow filter goes away. And the yellow filter comes back when Chris Hemsworth is back in the movie. So I'm wondering if like we see through his racist lens the movie. Because there's no, I don't understand, like the other bit didn't even look like India. Well, the movie is supposed to take place in Bangladesh. Okay.
But they shot in India. So we see through the racist lens of Chris Hemsworth this society.
He's not even in India. He's just in a corner shop somewhere.
Yeah, it's in the Indian district, the Bangladeshi district.
This film is actually based on a graphic novel.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
Cool. Don't know how you pronounce it. It's spelled Ciudad.
Never heard of it.
Ciudad. Anyway.
Is it like a Bangladeshi comic?
No, it's written by the Russo brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
So there you go.
Weird.
As a graphic novel writer, that will definitely be on your Christmas list.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna bring up Joe Russo, credited with the screenplay on this. Mm-hmm. Like, what did he write? Bang, bang, shebang, bim bum.
Did a bang, bang, bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang.
Bang, bang, bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. Bang, 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 bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang.
Yeah, that's what he wrote, and then it's like, do something with this. I don't know. I understand how for a normie this is like a really, like you, this is like a really exciting, non-stop action film. And this is exactly why I thought it was fucking boring. I really tried to go in with an open mind. I really did. The movie whittled me down slowly, and I just didn't care at the end about anything. And just started maniacally laughing at everything. I don't know if you remember that.
Film starts with this flash forward. Not really sure why. Didn't really get the purpose of that.
To be excited for future action, I guess.
In the flash forward, he's dying, so it's like he's going to die. This is how he dies. Which is a weird way to start an action film about like an action guy who's impervious.
I didn't mind that. I think it's kind of like a tone setter, I guess. If anything, it's like what's a good? Because I've done that same as well in Blender.
Yeah.
I've done the flash forward guy dying at the end.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue it's what's more interesting, seeing the journey or the end, you know?
So then we see him, he's not very well. And then it cuts over to a kid in a school.
Ovi.
Yes, Ovi. Played by... No,
go on then.
Yeah, I can't say that.
I'll wait till you perfectly pronounce that name.
Moving on. Yeah, the kid, Ovi.
God, he was terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't very good. But I have another note here, because at this point it changes from the orange filter, or the yellow filter, to a blue filter. Yes. And it's like, Ovi's sad. Ovi doesn't have friends. Ovi doesn't have a family.
To be fair, it's a kind of an interesting... if we have a discussion on movie coloring, it is a kind of detour from the norm, which is blue is usually used for action.
Okay.
I don't know what yellow is really used for.
So I guess it was a kind of reversal on that, but I don't know. It just looked ugly. Both ways, the yellow and the blue.
So there's a bit I didn't understand here, because you get introduced to Ovi and he's got his little group of friends and he's being driven around everywhere in this limo, and he's like, his friends are jeering him to go buy a girl a coffee, and it's like, well, I can't, I've got no money. But you're a very, very rich kid. And then they go to a club, even though they're about like 14, which didn't really make sense. And then they're buying all these drinks in the club and the girl's there, and he's still like, no.
I guess you could say that when they were pushing him to buy coffee for the girl, he was trying to be more under the radar, which he's supposed to be.
Okay.
Almost like a witness protection kind of deal. And then they pushed him far enough where he went to this party.
Okay. Ovi is the son of a drug lord that's in prison.
Yeah. Is that ever said that he's a criminal?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I tried to pay attention, I swear.
In the briefing that they give Chris Hemsworth, Rake. It's a great name.
It's better than John Powers. Like,
So yeah, it's in the briefing. He says like, this is a really powerful drug lord. This one's behind bars. They're both like neighbouring towns or cities or countries, and they're both the head drug pins, and there's loads of bad blood between them.
yeah, neighboring countries, because the end action scene takes place between India-Bangladesh border.
Okay. Ovi gets kidnapped, and the friend gets shot in the head by the police all of a sudden. It's quite a shocking thing.
Yeah, it was quite a shocking film, and then I saw the digital blood spurts, and then nothing was shocking anymore.
Is that better or worse than nothing at all? People get shot in the head,
Yeah.
so you can't have blood packs strapped to the side of someone's head.
True.
I think that digital blood spurts are a lot better than, say, Venom, where there's no blood at all.
Yeah, maybe, but for me it's very distracting. I just see this like mist that just disappears in the air, and then all the shockness comes out. To be fair, there were quite a few moments in this movie where I flinched.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I heard you flinch when Rake has the rake.
Yeah, when he has the rake has the rake and almost pushes a guy's eye into it.
At this point, Ovi's kidnapped, and the left-hand man henchman, Saju, goes to visit the dad in jail, and the dad threatens to kill Saju's family.
Yeah, Saju is the henchman, main
Yeah.
henchman of the criminal man who's behind bars, and is the father of Ovi.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Exposition done.
Yeah, I don't know if I want more story or less story. I kind of appreciated that it's kind of bare bones and it's just action, it's like no bullshit crap. But at the same time, so I didn't hear that he was a crime lord at the beginning.
Okay.
So I kind of was wondering what the fuck is this guy. And my idea was, and I also didn't hear that it's in Bangladesh. Or maybe they said Dhaka, and I didn't remember there was a Bangladeshi city. So I kind of imagine this movie as more on the border of India and Pakistan, as like a Kashmir movie. Kashmir is like this, like the second most militarized border in the world after the North Korea, South Korea thing. It's a very contentious border. I thought it would be interesting if the criminal who's in prison is instead like a politician who's imprisoned.
Wow, you gave this film so many more layers
I know.
than they did.
I know, but like, because at the end I'm like, when I figured out he's just a criminal, so what am I rooting for? The murderer, one murderer over the other, one criminal over the other, because he has a kid.
Well, you're rooting for the kid, because the kid's a good kid.
Yeah, but it's so slim to me. I need something bigger to attach myself into. Yeah, you need like some bigger stakes, bigger ideas,
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of Extraction, you don't really need to have heard those things. You just see a guy in prison and he's threatening someone. You don't need to know more than that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel two ways about it, that I could have had more and I could have had even less. I do appreciate that this movie is bare bones and it's just all about the action and doesn't bullshit you too much. But at the same time, if I want to enjoy a movie and want to root for a hero, I need some bigger stakes, bigger ideas,
So I'm going like action film things. You're not rescuing the kid, you're rescuing the nuclear codes or whatever. So I wouldn't like that. I like that it's a kind of just a story about like some random kid.
I guess because the lengths it goes through at the end of how many corrupt police is involved in this and everything, and that would have been an interesting angle, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, true. The ending is over the top.
Boring. I was so bored.
So, you set up all of this stuff, and then in comes the hero, Mr. Chris Hemsworth.
Here comes the white savior.
Yeah, I've read a lot of, like, reviews of that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, no. That's bad. What I really liked about this film, and you don't see it very often in films these days, is Chris Hemsworth gets to be Australian.
I was wondering, other than him saying mate, I kind of heard his Thor English accent.
Okay.
I'm not good with accents, so I trust you on this, honestly.
Yeah, he just sounded like Australian to me.
Yeah.
And there's so many Australian and English actors.
Torch.
There's so many English and Australian actors in Hollywood, and they've all got American accents. It's just nice for them to be able to play themselves.
Yeah. I didn't hear that sing-songy cadence that Australians have.
Okay. He's a badass. He's not going to have a sing-song cadence. He's going to growl at you through gritted teeth.
I wanted him to sound like Crocodile Dundee.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
You can tell immediately that Chris Hemsworth a badass because he's just sitting there drinking a beer, and his mate's scared of a little trip into the water.
A little, like...
A little 120-foot drop into the water.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth jumps into this water from really, really high up. It's like badass. I thought it'd be funny if he jumps into the water and credits start rolling. Because water can be very, very hard. The higher jump, the bigger force you put on it. So he basically would have just hit like cement and just broken into pieces.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
Wrong.
I saw a Mythbusters.
Yes, well, most of what you're saying is right, but I looked this up because it's on Wikipedia trivia. The person was saying exactly what you said, 100-foot drop, it's like cement and it would kill you. And then someone said, actually, the world record is 192 foot, and if you do it right, then you survive.
Survive? Maybe.
Well, no, because it's what people have done that, and then they've just swam up and they've went, hey, I've done it.
Yeah. There's my legs. Swimming away.
So, yeah, it is possible if you are properly trained. The only thing that isn't possible, hitting the water with that impact would force the air out of your lungs, and you then wouldn't be able to meditate underwater for some reason.
I have another note about that. How is he getting back?
Yeah.
Because it is pretty much just like a well. It's like a chasm of thing, and it doesn't look like you can maybe climb up, but that's it. There's no stairs or anything.
Or even if there is stairs, that would take you a good solid hour or
Yeah.
two to get back. And the thing is, he's gone hold my beer.
Yeah.
He's got like a half-finished beer, but that is going to be flat as fuck by the time he gets back.
He goes back and it's like dawn or dusk, and they're like, so was it worth it? No. Oh, we got the family flashbacks cliche. I'm so happy that only got like a few sentences of mention throughout the whole movie. I was thinking it'd be like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was just so happy that they didn't dwell on it too much. Although that is the worst scene of the movie when they start to explain it. But it's not a terrible Hollywood, like constantly dwelling on your family that left you kind of deal.
Yeah, I was expecting a big family scene where they're like, I love you, Daddy. And then the kid would say something as well.
Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth and some 29-year-old actress frolicking around in the bed. it's
rolling around on the beach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at this point, he goes home and it's clear that he's a mess. He's a drunk. He pops pills, all to forget the memory of his son.
Yeah.
What I did like about this, though, is that the wife left him.
Yeah, that was also interesting. It wasn't that they died, both
Yeah.
of them. That would be the typical thing.
Yeah.
It was that the son died of an illness, and then the wife leaves him because he's miserable.
Yeah, I thought that was,
It's different.
yeah. I think the subtle was the wrong word, but somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. I started to count and tally how many times they say extraction.
Really?
Do you wanna guess?
I'm going to guess 4 because I just read your notes.
Ah, you dick. I never heard so many times the title mentioned in a movie before.
I actually did look up, there was working titles for this film. I can't remember what they are now, but they were terrible.
Well, the title is terrible.
It's better than the other ones, trust me.
I don't know, it's so generic.
Extraction. It's to the point. So Nick turns up. That's the woman. So what's the woman's name?
That's
Nick,
all her name.
Nick Khan.
Okay. That's her character's name or actress's
That's
name?
the character's name.
Can you pronounce the actress's name?
No.
please? Well, we are failing as a movie podcast. Two white dudes.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, so Nick turns up and recruits him. You know, as he says in the film, chickens aren't cheap. He needs to earn that money because he lives in a shack in the Australian outback. I don't know what he needs money for, but...
Well, my impression was that he doesn't need money, but he wants to fucking die.
Okay.
And he's too chicken to do it himself.
There was several points throughout the film where he's, no, just come home now. Leave the kid, come home. And he's like, no, give me my money.
Well, that because he's attracted to Indian boys. As we find out. That's his kryptonite. That's his one weakness of half-naked Indian boys.
I don't think I saw that scene. I think I missed that one. I must have been in the toilet or something.
Alright, so, no, to be fair to me, so he likes kids. He's how would you say that in a non-pedo way?
He's very protective
Of half-naked Indian children.
Why? When is he half naked?
Not him, the kid with the gun later.
When's he half naked? He's wearing a tank top and shorts. It's hot.
No, not that one. The littler one. The one that he lets live.
He's also wearing a tank top, isn't he?
No. And that's the first scene where we see he's impartial to little boys.
You mean he doesn't want to shoot children?
Yeah.
I think that's very different from what you're implying.
I guess he sees his own dead son.
Right, so yeah, he gets hired for the extraction. This is where you find out about all the drug lord kind of stuff. I think it was here I asked you to show me the time of the film.
Yeah, I was wondering why you asked that.
I want to see what time the action starts. The action starts 19 minutes in.
It's pretty good, but at the same time the film was too long for what it was, I think. It's 2 hours. It could have been standard 1.5 hours easily and have the same impact. Even more of an impact, I think.
Yeah, you could have cut a lot of story out of it.
Especially in the last half an hour. Not even story, because I think the story was pretty bare bones, but you could have cut some of the action scenes.
But you can't take out the action, because that's what the film is.
Yeah, but it's how much of it is, you know. You don't want to be excessive.
Of course you do.
Well, okay, you want to be excessive in terms of visuals and explosions and the gun and this and that, but the amount of action scenes could have been cut down.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's the whole point of the film. It's like John Wick, I recently watched number 4, and that is all action. That is all action sequence. That is 2, maybe even 2.5 hours of pure John Wick running around shooting people in the head.
So would you watch like a 4-hour action movie? That's just action.
I wouldn't, but...
That's to me, that's what this is. 1.5 hours is completely enough for me.
Okay.
2 hours is a bit too much for me for an action movie.
It's like chocolate. You eat too much of it, and
Yeah,
you start
yeah.
to feel sick.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sick. I don't know why.
Have you considered the 60-inch diameter cookie you're eating?
How can something that's delicious make me sick? Unless too much of a good thing is actually a bad thing.
Yeah, so the action starts. Chris Hemsworth starts kicking ass.
Do you want to say his name again?
No. Chris Hemsworth kicking ass. He's tied up in a room and he's being walked down some stairs and then he escapes. Yeah. My favourite part of this scene is where he's got the zip ties on his hands and then he pulls it tighter with his teeth and then snaps it on his leg.
Before we move on completely to the action scene, I saw a good acting moment from him.
Yeah?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth, when he sees Ovi, he kind of gets emotional.
Really?
Yeah, and that's when it clicked for me. Oh, he likes little children.
Oh my
That's why it clicked to me that he likes... His kryptonite is children.
Somewhere in here is the episode title.
And it was just for his acting. He didn't say anything, and that was good.
He
I
has
like
some good moments in this where
Yeah.
he acts.
Yeah.
That's it. He just acts.
that. Well done for acting. That's your job. But well done. You've done your job. Gold star.
Yeah, so lots of stuff happens. Rake kills a man with a rake. He takes the hood off of Ovi, and Ovi looks around the room and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, why would he trust that man? Why did he go with that man? He just killed everyone.
He killed his captors.
I guess, yeah. But then he tries to kill his babysitter.
Yeah, true. And then we have a weird cut that felt a bit of a shock to me, where you get introduced to the bad drug lord.
Yeah.
And so the bad drug lord has a fat henchman. I think they're trying to discover who's stolen money from them. Mm-hmm. And the fat guy just picks up one of the kids and just chucks him off the roof.
Yeah. You think that's a smart fear tactic, but then one of the kids point out that maybe he was the one who stole it. You idiot.
I think the implication is that it wasn't that kid.
Yeah.
But he's clever enough to say...
Yeah, that was fairly clever. Kind of like that scene, but it just goes nowhere.
Yeah. What did you think of the bad drug lord?
I liked his performance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought it was lazy. All you got to do is smirk for 2 hours.
He came off kind of cool to me.
Yeah?
Actually, yeah. I kind of liked him, yeah. And that's why I was this...
Was it before or after he threw the children off the roof?
That was my favorite part. You know how I feel about murdering children. The problem was he felt cool to me and a cool villain, but at the same time it was disappointing because of the end, which we'll get into. Let's get into the action scenes, shall we?
Yeah.
I wrote down digital blood, boo.
Yeah.
Brutal fight, to be fair. But they have this car chase.
Yes. So he rescues Ovi, then they jump in the car.
He rescues Ovi, they jump in the car. At first, I really wanted to give the movie credit because it was a one-shot sequence. Mm-hmm. But then I realized it's a one-shot sequence made up of 26 different hidden cuts. And actually some of them were quite badly put together. So if you can't pull it off, don't do it. I've heard that the director, who used to be a stuntman for Avengers movies...
Do you know who he was the stuntman for?
Captain America.
He's the Captain American stuntman.
You should probably hire a good director of photography if you don't know what you're doing. And he himself, in that car chase, handled the camera. And it shows, because it was quite bad.
Yeah, I mean, he handled the camera, but yeah, so some of them scenes, they did like 25 takes to get it to line up.
And he still didn't line up.
It still didn't line up greatly. But, like, I read a thing where at one point the director was, like, strapped down to the hood of a car and they're holding the camera.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame him for not having a perfect shot.
Yeah, but then don't attempt something like this.
I thought it was really immersive.
Yeah.
Even if it is a bit like, well, every now and
Yeah.
again. It's quite immersive.
The other thing I didn't like is digital camera shake, which is just action movies. Just need to stop that. That's like a plague on society, because it's already a pretty hectic action scenes with characters everywhere, and there's a car moving and turning 180, and then even the camera's turning, and you don't need camera shake on top of that. Just leave it. It made me nauseous, and it really did, because it's like camera shake. Okay, now pen down so we can match that shot with another shot.
I hate camera shaky cam
Yeah.
in general. I've never enjoyed it. Like, if you can't make an action sequence good enough to just film it, you are not making it better by shaking the camera. It doesn't work. It's rubbish.
And it's digital camera shake for sure.
Oh, really?
It was very cold and not natural.
Yeah, so he rescues Ovi, and then they takes him to a second location, and he gets changed, and this is where you see his human side. He takes off his shirt as he's getting changed into his tactical gear, and he's got cuts and all on his back, and Ovi sees it, and he's like, oh, he's human after all. Hey.
In this movie, there's no women to undress for, so it's a little Indian boy. So, I thought it was a show of muscles scene, kind of.
Okay, no, because he looks a bit scared because he sees he's not indestructible.
He's got great pecs.
You see his back. It's his back. You know, he doesn't start flexing for the kid.
I mean, it was just shy of that, pretty much. I've got like an extra idea for the chase scene. It would have been cool.
Yeah.
And colourful.
Cool and colourful.
Yeah.
I just imagine them driving through the gay pride parade.
It's almost that. They could have done the Holi celebrations where people are outside and they just throw powder at each other.
Yeah.
It would have been
imagine
cool.
that on the car windshield.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
the
have
thing.
to like flip the...
Yeah, imagine that,
windscreen
and then
wipers.
imagine just people just leaning into the car, just throwing you a bunch of coloured powder. I thought that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be quite hard for continuation.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah. Right, so yeah, they get to the extraction point, and there's the boat, and everybody starts getting murdered on the boat, and the sniper's looking at the boat. By the way, the sniper, do you know who the sniper is?
No.
He is Sam Hargrave. He is the director of the film.
Oh, okay.
The sniper is him.
That was very jarring to me, because up until then it felt like he's completely alone.
Okay.
And I didn't know there's a team I kind of like the aspect of it actually, but it should have been, I don't know, more obvious from the start, I guess.
I don't know. I always assumed that he would meet up with a team of people at the extraction point. I think it says at some point that they're on a boat and there's a people waiting for him
Yeah.
in the
maybe.
briefing.
I think I assume that those are guides more than other mercenaries.
Tour guides.
Yeah, well, yeah, like how journalists need a guy who talks to the locals and shit. You know?
Okay.
It's kind of like that because Chris Hemsworth didn't know how to speak that language. He knew money.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, "Oh no, is he gonna be like a super genius as well?" Because he starts talking in that language. I was like, but no, he just knows like 2 words. Where's the money? The money first, or things like that.
So yeah, the double cross happens, and we discovered that Sarju hired the extraction team,
Yeah,
the Australian extraction team,
yeah,
and then the idea was to get him to the boat, but then Sarju kills everyone on the boat and kills the sniper, tries to kill Chris Hemsworth in the hope that he doesn't have to pay the extraction team, he can just murder them.
Oh. You see, I didn't get
steal the
that
kid.
at all. I didn't.
How?
I don't know. It's the explosions movie. I wasn't looking for the plot.
Well, that's why you didn't see one. So yeah, Sarju double crosses them,
Okay.
which, as the film goes on, doesn't really make sense at all.
No,
No.
especially at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sarju's now trying to kill Hemsrake,
Hemsworth.
and this bit really made me like I didn't really understand because this is another car chase at this point, and Sarju's driving after Chris Hemsworth, and he's shooting at the car that the kid's in.
He's desperate, I guess. Before they get to the next hiding spot, they put on these masks.
Yes.
To cover their identity, but they stand out way more than anyone else.
They put on these masks because it was filmed during COVID, and,
Yeah.
and then they had to.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Okay, so one of my favourite scenes in this film,
Is when they shoot.
when the explosion happens,
The boom boom happens.
they find themselves in like a block of flats. This is really cool, I think, because they start taking it to different people's perspectives and it hands over to different people at different times. So I think you see Hemsrake go into a building and then it takes the view of the police raiding the building. And this is really good because obviously you know Rake's going to come out and murder everyone. But it's good, it's like a really tension building thing where you're them.
Yeah.
And it seems a bit odd to me to see it from their perspective and the fear in them, and they're about to die.
Yeah.
You kind of really humanizes them before they murder them.
That happens later on where Sarju takes Ovi and then Chris Hemsworth. He hits him with a bus.
Yeah, it goes to Rake, and then it goes to the kid because the kid runs away, and that shows you how they get separated. And then somehow it goes back to Rake because he gets like thrown out a window. He jumps out a window or something, and he gets thrown onto a bus, and he lands, and then you see Ovi in the background getting taken by Sarju. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a really interesting way to do an action scene where you don't just follow the action hero.
It was.
I will take that. I will take that admission that it was
Yeah.
interestingly done.
It was interestingly done. I had to wash out my mouth with the soap.
And then Hemsrake hits Sarju with a bus, but somehow doesn't hit Ovi, who he's literally standing next to.
Yeah. And Sarju survives somehow.
Well, I think most of this film is like,
Yeah, it's true.
how would you survive that?
Yeah, that's
you
true.
couldn't actually
That's
survive
true.
that.
I usually complain about action movies that, especially modern action movies, that the hero is invincible. I actually wrote down a positive note that he makes mistakes and gets punched and stuff. He does like make mistakes. Like one of my favorite little bits in the movie where he, through the chase scene, someone's guiding him, is like, take a left. Oh, fuck, I forgot to take a left. And he turns to turn around. I like that bit, but I still don't care. I feel like I need it. You know who I think the perfect action movie protagonist is?
Go on.
The pregnant lady in Fargo. I'm not joking.
Right.
Because I think for me, the more of a vulnerability is in the protagonist and the more they have to overcome, it's the more interesting it is. Like, I'm really excited in Fargo because I'm worried about the pregnant lady. Like, I have like a gut reaction if she would get hurt. But Chris Hemsworth, he wants to die anyway, and he's just badass. you know, I still don't care.
Yeah. So they have a little patching up scene
Yeah.
where he like sorts himself out and does his sat nav, and they're like, "Leave the kid, just leave him to die." And he's like, "No, because I don't know.
Go on. Go on. How would you phrase that?
I'm rescuing this kid from danger."
Putting him into a different kind of danger. They get confronted by a child army.
They do.
I have a separate name for this segment. Hemsworth Claws versus Child Army. Which is, he's trained to kill, but he doesn't want to kill kids.
Yep.
So he just gives them permanent brain damage. And it's all good.
Yeah, I like this bit because he's just like swatting them away like flies.
Yeah.
At one point, he hits one square in the head. He's like, "Piss off!"
Yeah, the worst thing he does, he puts a kid's head through a car window, which is, yeah, you might as well kill him. Like,
No,
that's concussion, a large concussion.
That's a concussion, but he'll learn his lesson.
That Scar Kid better be back for Extraction too, because they built him up and then just ended with a fart, his story. He killed him, but just it wasn't like a showdown or anything.
Yeah, so Amir is the kid with the gun
And the Scar.
and the scar.
And I just wrote down Indian kid is terrible. Oh, but
I think you could have said kid is terrible.
he was more a teenager, and it's just like he was saying everything the same way. This like big eye expression. You really badass hero? And he was saying everything like that, and it's just awful. Don't they have like a large movie industry in India, Bangladesh? Or can they not get a better acting boy?
So, this is the bit that, if I was going to properly lose interest at some point, this is the bit that I kind of lost interest, and I would have happily just gone up and gone to the toilet. It's where he goes to the safe house with David Harbour.
Yeah. I just wrote down obvious backstabbing is obvious.
Yeah.
When is it gonna happen already?
Yeah, I wrote, and that's the thing as well. You know immediately what's
Yeah.
going to happen, and yet there's like 2 or 3 scenes. Like there's a scene where they sit down and they talk about it,
Yeah.
and then there's a second scene where he goes to see him the next day,
Yeah.
and then the backstabbing happens.
I like that there was some downtime, but yeah, I would have liked if they'd done something different with that character.
There is one bit in this film that kind of ties in at the end. I want to see if you noticed it, so we're not going to talk about it till the end. Something the kid says.
Chris Hemsworth is too manly for emotions, where there's the kid sleeping and he talks to David Harbour and some emotions come up and just walks away. And it's too manly for emotions.
Yeah, he starts crying.
Yeah, but he walks away.
It's a powerful scene. No, I think that was really good acting in his part for that, because he does start crying. And I think, you probably would. If you're just sitting there, it's good, you just walk away, because you don't really like
I don't know
cry.
if it's your friend or...
I don't know, I don't think I'd sit down and just cry in front of someone. I'd just leave. Try and put myself together and come back.
I want to cry now.
You want to cry for 2 hours of watching
Yeah.
Extraction. From now on, it's all action.
Yeah.
This is the bit where Sarju and Rake team up.
Yeah. My question is, how does he know Sanju is trustworthy? Because he doesn't know fuck all about that guy. All he knows is that he came after him and he tried to murder him.
I got the feeling that there was a conversation that was had at some point where they thought about it. What was weird to me is that Sarju murdered his whole team.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care about revenge for any of that.
That's part of my criticism as well. So what happens? Chris Hemsworth gives Sanju the weapons, like a bag full of weapons. She's stored somewhere.
Oh yeah.
His butthole.
Oh no, he gets the weapons from David Harbour.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I was a bit confused about that. Like, what is he not going to shoot? But then he keeps some of them and keeps a grenade
Keeps a
launcher.
grenade launcher, yeah.
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 I wrote down shooty, shooty, shooty. My eyes glaze over, and then just the emoji of my eyes rolling over.
He had time to do a drawing
Yeah.
of your eyes rolling over. I feel like, because you said about it earlier, the end of the film where they're just murdering a whole bunch of policemen, it feels like, GTA.
Yeah.
Like, they've progressed to 5 stars, and now the military is after them.
Yeah.
And the tanks are going to show up soon, and it's not even pretended to be grounded at this point. It's just shooty, shooty, bang, bang.
I don't know what it is, but I just find that boring. I need something else.
It's certainly less interesting at this point. My favourite parts of the film were when he's like in a room with like 3 people, and
Yeah.
it's got brutal kind of hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
And there is a point where you can get away with like shooting, but it's like John Wick, people coming in from different parts of the room, you know, and he's got to turn and react quickly, whoever reacts the quickest. But this is just him walking along a bridge.
You know what it also reminded me of? And this movie, I don't know if it's in the recesses of your mind, no one remembers this movie. Hardcore Henry. Do you remember
I did see
Henry?
Hardcore Henry. Is that the first person one?
That's the first person. That's
Oh,
what,
I really
That's
enjoyed
what this
that.
reminded me of. I guess that's almost like a proto John Wick
Mm-hmm.
movie. I don't know if John Wick was first, but it certainly felt like it.
Yeah. I think that's better. I think John Wick does it better. I think Hardcore Henry does it better.
But John Wick I didn't watch all the way through because I was bored to shit. Hardcore Henry, the POV stuff was interesting, so that kept me going.
There's really nothing to say about this one. There's just a helicopter gets shot out of the sky at one point. Someone
Yeah.
shoots an RPG at a helicopter. Someone,
Sanju dies.
Sanju dies.
And I wrote down, no, not Sanju. I care about him so much because they linger in him so long.
I've really grown attached to that.
Yeah.
That side character.
Because they really,
It has like 2 lines of dialogue.
yeah, they whip out the slow mo and everything. They whip out the slow mo, the emotional music. Oh no, not Sanju,
Sanju
Saju.
didn't even bother to learn his name. I don't
No.
know how little you care about him. Yeah, so Sanju dies. This is where you see Nick being a badass. She's got a sniper. There's a bad sniper and a good sniper, and the bad sniper's shooting all the good people, and the
Yeah.
good people shooting
Bad
all
sniper's the
the snipers.
colonel, the corrupt colonel.
Yeah. Do you know he hasn't got a name? He's just called Colonel for the entire film.
Doesn't surprise me.
And what I found really funny about this the whole way through is the bad drug lord. He's like standing on top of his like expensive house with binoculars, just looking at the bridge. You couldn't see fuck all, man. What would you see from binoculars?
Yeah, that's the thing. I was hoping he would be somehow dragged into it, like physically. So Chris Hemsworth has to come. He was providing cover and distraction.
Yeah.
So he has to come to the forefront and defend.
Yep. He joins the fight on the bridge.
Yeah.
And then that's it. More shooty bang bang. And the kid gets over the bridge, and Chris Hemsworth gets shot in the neck
Yeah,
by the kid.
Yeah, by the Scar Kid.
There's a few bits in this that actually do call back to the start of the film.
So he says,
You don't drown by falling into the river. You drown by staying submerged.
yeah,
At the end, he falls into a river.
yeah.
Brings it full circle. Excellent writing.
It's- I guess it is, but
That looked like it really hurt you to say.
it did. It's an okay idea in a script that's the size of a post-it note.
Yeah. So then Tyler falls off. Oh my god, I called him Tyler. Hemsworth falls off a bridge, falls in, and he dies. Air quotes. And the kid escapes. And happy ending.
Yeah, there's one more thing that you forgot to mention,
Well,
which,
there is a mop up at the end.
which caused my outburst of laughter, which I couldn't stop. But I really tried to. I tried to be respectful. So the drug lord is peeing
Yep.
in the urinal, and Nick
Nick. Yeah.
comes in and looks over, and the shot was perfectly lined up, so she whips out her penis as well. Like,
Just up her dress and just starts pissing.
yeah. I thought that was hilarious, but that's it. That's it. That was I was laughing at that so hard because like
What an ending to the film that would have been.
because it was like perfectly lined up for that comedy shot. He just had to pan down, just like
No, she shoots him in the face.
yeah.
Rightly so. I quite like this bit as well because she shoots him in the head and she stays there. I don't know if you noticed, but as she walks away, the bottom of her dress goes through the blood of his brain,
Okay.
and it like drags it across the bathroom floor.
I thought she's dragging something else.
Enough of your obsession.
I still don't like that scene though, because I don't like that this drug lord was really built up, and then some lady characters barely in the film has to kill him. Like, it's not narratively satisfying.
Yeah, I never really got like that Nick and Hemsworth were friends. Like,
Yeah.
she was his boss.
Yeah.
She gave him a job and he went into the thing. So there's no reason for her to take revenge.
It's just the hero needs to do these things. Not, you know, you need to take out your fake death scene for that to work, but still, it would have been more satisfying.
Yeah, and then we cut to the kid, and he's on a diving board,
Yeah.
mirroring the first scene that we meet Chris Hemsworth. And what I didn't understand is, why does the kid do this? Because he didn't see Chris Hemsworth do it. He didn't have any connection to that in any way. He just happens to do the same thing.
The bigger question is, why does Chris Hemsworth hanging around the kids' pool, looking at half-naked Indian boys?
He went to visit...
Of the pool.
I've forgotten the kid's name. Mark.
Ovi.
Yeah, so he goes to visit Ovi.
And creepily looks at him through the bushes.
He's not in the bushes. He's standing by the edge of the pool.
And we don't know if it's him. Who knows?
Yeah. It's supposed to be ambiguous. It's not.
It's not at all.
No, really. I wondered whether or not they actually got Chris Hemsworth to do that scene.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's actually him. That's the biggest mystery of that scene. Or they just got some random guy.
It would be really cheap to do that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever you don't see Chris Hemsworth, his face is a completely different person.
And then that's the end of the film. Yay!
I ironically clapped at the end.
I authentically clapped at the end.
Whoa.
I enjoyed it. It's it's an action film.
Yeah.
It's a non-stop action. Wow. It's an action film.
It is pretty much a non-stop action film. Yeah. Again, I need something else to really enjoy that kind of film. I'm not a manly man, you know. I'd rather see Barbie than this. Yeah. Even as a kid, I hated playing with soldiers and shit. Even when I had like Spider-Man action figures, because I had second-hand action figures, his arm was missing. And it's like the whole play was whole story of a soap opera of how Spider-Man is dealing with his arm loss. I was a weird kid. Can you tell? Maybe if it's like even more ridiculous and stylized, I would have enjoyed it. Or there's more story, I would have enjoyed it. But it's kind of this middle of the road kind of approach, which, you know, for me it's just boring.
I haven't done any of my fun facts. I'm upset by this, actually.
Already failing as a podcast.
So I'm going to have to record some fun facts. You have to put them in at random intervals.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put it at the end.
Okay. So at various points in this project, both Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis were attached to B. Tyler.
I've read that. I was wondering what this script was hanging around for like 30 years.
It can't be. It's based on a graphic novel by the Russo brothers.
Yeah, it would have been a very different film if you put an old geezer like Bruce Willis in it.
99 million people watched this film. It is Netflix's most watched film.
To this day.
I'm not sure it's to this day, but certainly at the time.
So I don't usually trust these numbers because this is not like a box office. This is like Netflix said
Yeah.
kind of thing. If you like action movies, you'll like it.
Cool.
I even recommend it, just not to the people who are into what I'm into. You know, it's very bog standard. It's a very Father's Day dad movie.
Okay.
When Father's Day comes, they always have the shops. They have the little stand, and it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
full of Bruce Willis movies. It would be nice on there, and that's it.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening.
Wait.
What?
Oh,
we got it.
you think you're getting out of this?
Yeah, thank you for listening to I Heard Your Movie. Anyway, see you later. Goodbye.
So we're watching John Carpenter's The Thing next.
Okay.
Pretend you're surprised that I haven't sent this before to you by accident.
Okay. What?
You said that you are quite sure you're not gonna like it.
I'm quite sure I'm not going to like it. I don't like horror films in general. Not a massive fan of Mr. Russell, Kurt Russell. And I don't like the production values of like 80s films.
Okay. I have a feeling you might like it.
Yeah? You were going to break the format again. We've just come back from like format breaking High Life and Wet Hot American Summer.
No, because the format is that even though it's out of your comfort zone, I still think you might like it.
Okay.
It's still a gamble.
Yeah.
Whether you just torture me, that's your format. I still hope that you like it.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, thank you and goodbye from I Hope You Like My Movie.
That's not a catchy name, so you know. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and most importantly, share, because I would like our audience to grow and we'd like our community to grow.
Yeah. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. I just realized today that's a thing.
Is there a rating system on Spotify?
Apparently, yes.
Oh, wow.
I saw it today.
We researched this well.
Bye.
Bye.